99% of people currently live in a complete delusion. And that delusion is that their life is difficult. Somehow this notion appeared that the life must be hard and everything should be a challenge. And you should fight for your place under the sun. And to be truly happy, you need to defeat all the enemies. And then maybe you get a chance to live a good life. Now, in reality, the only thing that can make your life hard is yourself, or rather, your psyche. And if you get this one thing right, not only are you gonna attain arguably the most important thing a human could ever do on this planet, that is freedom of mind, but also you're gonna be pretty much unstoppable and you're gonna hit every goal you're gonna set for yourself for the rest of your life. And I know what you might be thinking, right? There is this random kid on the internet telling me that my life is easy. He doesn't know my life. What does he know? And trust me, when I first learned this from a person who taught me this, my reaction was super defensive, and it came something like, you don't know my life. Like, my reaction was literally like, well, I have all these problems that you don't know of. Like, I have this like unfinished relationship, and I have this like unsaid things, and I have like also my schedule is weird, and like my shifts. You don't know me. My case is unique. My case is different. Your life is easy. Mine isn't. But for me personally, everything has changed when I heard this analogy of, imagine if Alexander Fleming, right, when he invented penicillin, he came up to people and said, hey guys, I have something really sick here. Those pills, can you see them? They actually cure infections. Like all these diseases that you've been living, like it's proven to kind of reduce them by 80%. I think you should try that. And imagine how the world would look like today if their reaction would be something like, well, you don't know my body. Like, I lived with this infection for my whole life. Like, I actually got it from my mother. Like, and you don't know her life. So how can you have something for me? Like, it clearly doesn't affect me. It's a scam. You're a scammer, right? And let me be clear, okay? I'm no Alexander Fleming, okay? I have no pills to sell you. But this model, or three-step model, or three-phase model, call it however you want. But when I learned this, 2 years ago, in the summer of 2022, my life has changed forever, and I went from broke loser, failing at uni, working a shitty job, every relationship failing, to now making a very decent amount of money, traveling the world, and kind of spending a lot of time with people I care about. And before we dive into this, I want to preface that this model that I'm gonna share with you right now is about reduction. It's not about addition. I'm not gonna tell you to meditate for 5 hours and read 2 books a day. I'm not gonna tell you to clean your chakras, and I'm not gonna tell you to, I don't know, don't jerk your pee-pee, okay? This model, also have nothing against those things, but this model I found for myself that I have the best results when I chip away stuff out of my life instead of adding on more. So if that's something interesting, let's go. Simply for the sake of illustration, this three-headed dragon, Hydra, whatever, is gonna be our main enemy today, and this is gonna be us, Hercules, right? And we're gonna be slaying that dragon, baby. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you kill or at least minimize the effect of those 3 dragon heads on your psyche, you're gonna be ahead of 99.9% of people you will ever meet. The first head that we're gonna have to slay, Regress. By the way, peep the effects. Okay, this is how we do it on this channel. Okay, this is how we roll. The first thing is Regress, and I spoke about Regress in my last video. I will add the note at the end of the video if you want in-depth dive into what is Regress. You can watch that. In a nutshell, Regress happens when your psyche, completely unconsciously, unknowingly to you, completely on autopilot, decides to revert to much earlier patterns of behavior, making you a primitive lizard or reptile, basically making you act like a very, very primitive animal. But your psyche does not do this because it hates you. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It does it so that you feel a sense of comfort in a way when you have a stressful situation and you want to feel comfort. It will simply revert to the way you behaved and felt like as a child. And since you survived being a child, it's basically, in a nutshell, making sure that you will survive this stressful situation. Now, in the modern world, the situations where you need a fight or flight mechanism is very limited. And so if you encounter stress, the first natural reaction of your psyche is to kind of regress you back. So this is just how it is. And so you can see here on the illustration, I wanted to give you an example of this thing that happened to me like last year. when I was going to the mall and I kind of saw two cops and I started panicking, even though I had like no drugs on me, nothing. Like they had this like drug dog. My initial reaction was like run, but this was something very interesting happened like an hour ago, which made me want to talk about that. So when I was recording the video, I was like on a stage 2 already, so it's like I was already discussing this head. My camera shut down and the file with like the footage corrupted. And normally, like 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure like if this happened to me like 2 years ago, like the day would be over for me. Like everything, like I would be in complete regress, and everything I do from that point on would just be like childlike behavior, and like I would, I don't know, get into random fights, blame myself for it, like all that mix of stuff. But ironically, in a phase 2 right there, I was actually talking about how to prevent that, so that's a pretty cool example right there. But we'll get to that later. And before we do, there's actually one more very important thing about regress and psyche. These situations like camera shutting down or like two policemen with a drug dog coming up to me, those are pretty like big and visible events that like kind of, oh, that happens. You have to understand that our psyche is active 24/7, and it's not the only scenarios it responds to. In fact, it responds to every single thing that you encounter. For the sake of example, let me just explain how my day would look like 3 years ago, right? So I wake up, I check the Instagram. The first thing I see is someone more beautiful than me, has more money than me, or has more YouTube subscribers than me. Boom. So my day has already started up strong, right? My cup is like, it's getting more stress in it, right? Then what I do, I go ahead and check my messages, and what do I see? Someone is mad at me, someone wants me to do something as soon as possible, someone is ill, right? Like it's boom, another cocktail. So great, now my glass is like half full. Cool, then I go and take, I don't know, a smoke break. That's like 11 a.m. by the way, it's like before the day even starts. And my mom calls me and we have a fight, and like boom, suddenly it fills up to the full, and all this good stuff just comes leaking down my psyche. I'm regressed. And what do you think my day would look like after I'm regressed at 12 p.m? p.m? This is how it works, yeah. at the start of the day, basically. What do you think will be the quality of my decisions that I'm gonna take that day? What do you think is gonna be the quality of plans and the quality of the work I do? Bad, one word, very bad. Okay, so what I want you to get from this is regress, bad. Regress, need to leave. And if you want a video to talk about all how I minimize the cup filling up nowadays and how I kinda prevent it from filling up at all, some days, let me know. I can speak about that, but the video would be too long if I do now, so. Okay, cool. So that was the first head, that's called regress. And you have to understand that after watching this video, chances are that you're not gonna just go out there and like be your pure self and be resistant to stress, because like it might feel like that, like when you get some knowledge, it might feel like, oh, now I know everything. Now I know that in order to like live a good life, I need to not get stressed. Right? Sounds easy enough. But like the day will come and something will happen, like you'll get regressed. So it's important to know what to do and what not to do. And our second head will, slaying the second head of the dragon will help us. That head is AutoThoughts. This is arguably the most important head out of those three. I really think that if you nail first two, you'll have like insane results immediately, okay? So, and it's called AutoThoughts. And the best way to explain it is on an example of this stress cup. I'm shopping in the mall, two policemen with a drug dog come up to me, just ask a couple of questions, right? Just doing their job. What we understood from the previous head is that my stress cup would fill up a bit, right, when they come up. But this is not entirely true. See, I could have had different reactions to them coming up. If, for example, some representative of like police force would come up to me today, I wouldn't have that reaction today because you know, I'm grown and my psyche is like more strong now. So this apparent stressor would not have had the same impact on me today that it had like way back then. What's the difference, you may ask, right? Like the action is like the same, you know, people came up to me, asked a couple of questions, but why do now I react differently? Or when my camera shut down, right? This is because in this exchange, right before my stress cup starts filling up with a green goo, there is something very important going on here. And it's called AutoThought. Now, in this case, where with the police example, my AutoThought was, for example, I'm fucked, right? I'm going to jail. I have no drugs on me, but I'm for sure going to jail, right? Like, I started thinking about, like, okay, my passport is good, like, but fuck, I'm an immigrant, like, they're gonna call my university for nothing. The action itself, right? The action of my camera breaking down, or like the action of police guys just coming up to me, it doesn't have inherent bad connotation, right? It's only that I'm pasting it in my own head. So this is like a very important gatekeeper of the stress cup, stress juice. And if you eliminate this thought that happens like literal moments before getting regressed, you won't have problems with regress ever. So it's like this problem kind of solves this one, but those are separate things, if that makes sense. Cool. Let me give you one more example that will, I think, drive this home very well. When I was a kid, like, I don't know, 13 years old, I had a friend who spent like most of his life playing chess, right? Since he was 6 years old, he was playing chess like all the time. That's all he was known for in our friend group. That's all he did, like, ever. And so, as me being a good friend, like, I'm not interested in chess at all at the time, but I went to support him on chess tournament, right? Because that's what friends do. And so, if you have never attended chess tournaments, it's basically like a big hall of like teenagers sweating. Like, adults are kind of going back and forth, like they're playing chess. They're like kind of taking notes and all. Super weird if you're not in the world, but like for them it makes a lot of sense. The event itself was like 6 hours total, so it's like pretty long. And so my friend was preparing for it like a lot. For like 2 months straight he was talking about it, and now he was playing there. So the first game he plays, he loses. Second game he plays, he loses. Out of 6 games he played there, he lost 5. So it's like pretty bad. Like on a time span of like 6 hours, he played 6 games and he lost 5. There also was like, this is a minor detail, but there was a table for newbies in chess, and I decided to actually play one game as well, because like I was bad and like I knew how the figures move, but nothing else. Obviously I lost as well, right? So it's like we had a total of 6 lost games on us. I don't think I'll ever forget his like emotional state at that time. Like he was super upset, right? Like you could tell that the like losing there meant like a lot for him. And I was trying to talk to him. I was like, give those basic, like, you know, 13-year-old kind of upbeat advice, like, well, you'll play better next time. It's like, now you know your mistakes. Like, oh, like this is the best that my brain could generate back then. I asked him, like, you know, but he didn't get better at all. Like his face like remained the same like the whole day after that. I asked, like, you know, why are you so upset? Like, it's, you know, you already lost. Like, what's the point of being upset now? And the thing he said to me is, I am a loser. He said it like he never spoke to me before, and as far as I know, he has never competed in chess again from that day. Like 7 or 8 years of like complete like 24/7 chess training all went to waste. It really hurt for me as his friend to like look at this. I didn't really understand why did he have the reaction that he had, and me also losing a game there. It's all because I have not told myself that I am a loser based on that. So this is the importance of AutoThoughts. The actions, or like the situations, the stressors that happen to us every single day are not inherently good or bad. Something might happen to you and I would not feel it, and something would happen to me and I would feel it a lot and you would not feel it. And this is because we have context, and AutoThoughts feed off of the context that you have in your life. So yeah, this is TLDR on AutoThoughts. Be more mindful of it. Okay, and I know this, like, it sounds super easy, right? Just don't think bad thoughts about yourself. This is why I'm saying that you will not be able to do it straight away after the video, right? In the future, I might be able to give you the concrete step-by-step plan of how to, you know, not have this. All my friends that also know about this model say that meditation helps them a lot, because what meditation does is kind of separates the reaction and the action. So it's like you have a tiny bit more to think about, like your reaction. But again, this is not a meditation video, right? This is how to get a killer results in any field in your life. So yeah, work on auto thoughts, right? I don't care who you work with. You work with a therapist, you work with like you do some heavy self-digging, work on it, understand that they are present, and beat them. What I'm telling you right now is what's literally bleeding edge, like psychiatrists believe to be true about our brain. All I'm doing is just sourcing it and simplifying it to the level of bro science. Like obviously, like the terms of AutoThoughts and Regress might have like a different name, and it's like maybe technically not exactly like this, you know. But what I'm interested in right now is to give all the people I care about great results, so that they have a sick life, and hopefully you get something out of it too. That out of the way, let's move to the third head. And now this head will decrease the effect of head 1 and 2 by approximately 60% if you solve this. But ultimately, this is the most hard thing you could ever work with. Like, you can, you know, you might be thinking that, I don't know, learning to code is hard, or like learning like a new language is hard. Mastering this and like killing off, minimizing this head is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And this is called Deep Distortions. Now, a very talented psychiatrist made a model where he outlined 19 core mental distortions, and I'm not gonna go through all of them, right? This video is already way longer than I expected, so you can just read the list out of it, and chances are you have all of them, right? It's not like, oh, I'm not afraid of failure, let's say, right? Or I don't fear abandonment. All those things, like all these 19 things, you have at some level. You might not indulge in self-sacrificing a lot, but maybe you're afraid of failure, and you kind of don't trust people. And I'm basically saying that if you solve this, because this is what ultimately fuels the previous two heads, right? If you solve this, you will like be already superhuman, right? And by solve, I mean minimize, by the way, right? You cannot just get rid of it, right? You're human. The nature of humans is that we have psyche, we are alive, and we react to stress. Our main goal is to survive and continue our bloodline. And all these things would kind of usually get in the way of that. And so inherently, this is the things that we fear. As I said, I'm not gonna get into how to solve each of these things, but what I will recommend you to do is to pass a test online on those 19 distortions. So there are two ways to do it currently. You can either Google YSQ distortions test, and there's like, it's gonna be a pretty long test and it's very scientific. Or you can support me and check the Telegram description for a free diagnostics link. It's absolutely free, and I used the same methodology as Jung used in his research. The only pro of using my link is that if you want to say thank you for the video, if it helped you in any way, you can help me out to build out this system. My main goal with this channel and with this link and with this group and with everything is to demystify the science of psychiatry and make good resources accessible for everyone. So if you want to support me, click the link below, complete the test, completely free, no fees. If you want to watch the video on Regress, the note is here, and I'll see you later.